Okay, tweeter number 1 is going to get the capacitor on the positive input. Look how special that cap is. Francis makes these special caps for the tweeters. That's tweeter number 1 with the positive soldered with the capacitor, and then that negative terminal is going to go to tweeter number 2, the positive input of tweeter number 2. Tweeter number 1, the negative connection. That's the positive connection of tweeter number 2. And that's the negative connection of tweeter number 2. Look at that capillary action. Negative connection on the high range horn driver. Actually wrong. That was the positive connection on the high range horn driver. It has the capacitor on it. Negative connection on the high range horn driver. Positive connection on the middle range horn driver. Negative connection on the middle range horn driver. Those are all the drivers and the tweeters. The negative connection. And that's the positive connection. So that's 2 drivers and 1 tweeter negative connection. And that's 2 drivers positive connection. So now Francis is going to tie in the positive connection of the tweeter number 1 and also tie in the last high range horn driver. That's the last high range horn driver. That's the positive connection, also with a capacitor. And that's the negative connection of the last high range horn driver. So now Francis is finishing the connections that ties the 3 horn drivers and the 2 tweeters together. The 2 tweeters are wired in series and then parallel with the 3 horn drivers. And that completes that channel. Try to keep your wiring as neat as possible. This way, if you ever have an issue, it will be easy for you to troubleshoot it. Okay, this is the first connection to the mid bass. That's the positive terminal. And that's the negative terminal. Everything is going to be wired in parallel with the two other mid base. Positive connection on mid base number 2. Negative connection on mid base number 3. If you guys don't know how military splice, this is how you military splice. Of course, strip back the insulation. Use a tool to poke a hole through it. Just like that. Now, insert the wire through the hole, and that's a military splice. Wrap it around, and you're done with that connection. Poke it through again, through the hole. Wrap it around. And that's how you military splice if you didn't know how. If you could solder all your connections. It will last forever. Frances likes to use a lot of extra solder because she's not paying for it. After that, wrap up your connections with good electrical tape. 3M is pretty good. If you use that cheap 99 cents electrical tape, make sure to zip tie it. We just zip tie it anyway in case it unravels. And now Frances is going to make the last connection on mid base number 3. You can pre-tin your terminals to make your soldering easier. That's the positive connection on the mid base. And that's the negative connection on mid base number 3. And that completes this wiring. And we're done.